Hello guys, LuxAeterna here. Thought I would do a match review of all the matches I played for Season 4 so far. So let's get started with this first one. Round 256 against Kupo. So throughout Season 4 I will be playing a single target box here, banning Landius first. I still think banning Landius first is quite good, as long as you know how to deal with your opponent's tanks like Juggler. But in this case, I'm facing against Estelle. I haven't faced against Estelle teams that much, so it's going to be new, where I actually lose one of the matches here. But here, I look at my opponent's team. There's a bunch of, well, everything included here, so they can do AoE, and there are some good single targets here as well. Claret, Yusuke, but also Joshua, very strong with AoE. Estelle, +1 mobility. All their AoE units actually become very dangerous. Listel, Bozo, Joshua can all use the +1 mobility buff really well. So in the first game, I get Landius and the Landius. Then get some long legs band. Here they pick up the Estelle, and I just go for some random bans of my own. I really didn't need to ban this D-Lit, given that I have a Landius. As long as I stay within Landius' guard range, then I really didn't have to worry about their single target units that much, especially the D-Lit. So instead of banning D-Lit, I should have banned something more AoE. Who can use the +1 mobility from Estelle very well? Who are the units that are really strong against Landius? So Estelle is still okay as a first ban, but instead of banning D-Lit, I should have banned something like Joshua, or Bozo, or even Rene would have been okay. So here I pick up the Claret, since Claret with Landius faction buff can most definitely one-shot Estelle's as soon as I go in early. Well, my opponent also picks up Claret. And when they do, I have to ban out this Yaris. Yaris can make the make the Claret be able to one-shot this Landius. Like, double attack, kill all the Landius. I don't want that to happen. Next, I also pick up this D-Lit. D-Lit is good against Estelle, so now I have two good ways of killing off this Estelle. What I really should have got here is get the Yusuke instead, because I can use this Claret to kill off the Estelle already, but now I have two single target attackers that can basically do the same thing. But D-Lit have way shorter range and threat than Yusuke here. Oh, the Yusuke gets banned. They get a Bear 2 with Diana. Here I pick up Zerda, thinking, well, it's a 4th pick Zerda, must be good, I guess. And they get a Joshua here. So looking at all of this and looking at my opponent's team, I figured I can probably use this Weiler just to increase the damage of all my units and then maybe survive against this Claret. And then they get the Bozo last pick. So before the game starts, I think myself that, okay, I can just kill one of this Estelle, like with one of my 2 tank busters here, and then finish up with the single target attackers, like whoever remains here, and kill off these other remaining long range threats. As you can see here, mostly just standard skills here. And my opponent's side here, I have ninjutsu, so I'm trying to stay away from these two lines. Proposal with 2 AoEs and a sleep. This act again is going to be very annoying to deal with. So before my opponent can move their claret, I just want to get this Zerda as far forward as I can. Basically, get into hide and seek. Then set up the team here. So here, I look at this still, use the Enduring Hope, the 3C, and I look at the defense, it's not very good. So I want to pretty much just try to kill it immediately. So this of course one-shots the Stell, but now I'm going to fight this 4v4 with not such a great team of single target attackers here. Because what you can see happening here is this claret covers most of the map with this +1 additional mobility. So Zerda can't actually get into hide and seek anymore, now that I've traded off one of my own units, so I can't use it as a, a blocker unit, just to create that zone where Zerda can be safe. And then added onto that, we have this Bozo with +5 mobility. So this Bozo is threatening to use AoE at a very long distance. Same with this Joshua here. So Zerda can't actually attack any of them, and especially not with this terrain in their way. Dealet as well, since most of this map is covered, this Dealet can't really trigger her talent the way that I want it to. So I moved my healer here way too early. That allows my opponent to use his Joshua to get a snipe onto this Dealet. And since I killed off his Estelle last turn, he gets to move first this turn. So I threw away the turn priority here and paid the price for it with this Dealet just going down to this Joshua here. 2 crits. Very unlucky. Since the Dealet I'm pretty sure was on very high reduced crit damage, reduced crit chance here, with both Landia's aura and her armor. Giant's Resolve, reducing an additional 20%. So it gets crit twice anyways, and goes down. So at this point I only have this Zerda, and can't ever get into range of this claret. So I can move into range of the Landias. But if I do that, their Bozo and the Joshua can get into range to AoE first. And as soon as Zerda eats even 1 AoE, the Shadow Raid backstab damage is not going to be enough to kill any of these stuff. Or at least I didn't think so. So here, basically just lose the game as a result of that. Where the Zerda just loses out with the claret. That's the only spot where she can go into hide and seek, and then next turn can't do anything anymore. And I'm moving first, which means my opponent can just take their time to hit me with AoE first, maybe twice, with Liana, act again. And then that's going to render the Zerda very much useless here. So that goes down, and then game 1 ends like this. So when you do play Zerda, and your opponent have a Claret, one of the most annoying things is when they don't actually attack with their Claret. So you can do the same thing if you ever face against a Zerda with a Claret of your own. You can choose to just not attack with your Claret and zone out your opponent's Zerda until they don't have hide and seek anymore. At that time, you can then make your decisions then to perhaps use the Claret to attack. So for game 2, I switch out some of these shorter legged units for better units that are better for player 1 and are also better against sniping off this Estelle especially. So here pretty much the same pick and ban, starting these two again, and this time I banned the Rene and the Tiaras. Just immediately going for this Claret, taking out the Tiaras just to make sure I can again one-shot this Estelle if I need to. So here, next bans are what are considered good units against this Leonhardt. If I want to play out a turn 1 Leonhardt teleport play, I have to get rid of units that can kill the Leonhardt, like Elit can do that, can chase up, use her skill, possibly just one-shot the Leonhardt. That again is also really strong against Leonhardt. So I'll just take them out early. If I want to make this Leonhardt's turn 1 teleport very strong. Again, taking out strong units that can potentially zone out the Leonhardt on turn 1. And here I get a Gospel here for the Leonhardt. So here there's a few things I can do. I have 3 strong good single targets. I just need to make sure this Leonhardt can teleport in, get a snipe with Air Slash, then I can follow up with these 2 when I get the chance. Apply the Gospel. I have the Simmons Sky Archers here, just in case Disposal gets in here and drops some AoEs. Now, since my opponent moved everyone except this Iris last, I can teleport here very safely with the Gospel here as well. Even if they last moved Bozo or something, they can't really do much to this Leonhardt, because you can't sleep this Gospel. So here, Iris correctly moves within passive guard range of Estelle. I really wanted to take out the Iris here, but which is why I also, blocked one of these spots, which is right next to Estelle. But this Iris safely gets into the range of passive guard, and now I have to take out one of these other units or the tank. So drop the AoE. I took one of the other AoEs, like the machete or the other, thing. Forgot the name. Would have probably killed off a lot more of these units. But I brought Air Slash, so I can only take out one here. And just decide to, get rid of this Estelle. That way I can run out this card of my own against any one of my opponent's units here with their superior range. Now, because I have a Liana here with Sky Archers, I don't really have to care about the Bozo that much. So it's really using this Claret to take out this Claret or my opponent's Joshua. Here I figured the Claret will be better kill, so I go for it. This Clara gets sleeped. My Landius, because it's cavalry, can't really get into range. In range to guard here without this deserts. But not much I can do here. So the Claret goes down, but it's alright. Now I'm just waiting here for another Gospel to come up. Just out of range. The next turn I can use the Gospel to move in with Elvenora. And get rid of the Joshua here. So now I have two pretty good units against this Bozo. The game's pretty much over here. Whatever AoE Bozo drops, we can just heal up, dispel. And then keeping this sort of formation, where my opponent Bozo can only AoE 2 units, and never my support units. We're not really worried about AoEs here and the debuff. So he can like drop AoE here, so we're fine. So Elit's Gospel only debuffs the Landius, and because of our positioning here, running against the AoE, we're completely fine. Then the game's pretty much over already anyway. So I'm gonna skip through this. And then continue on, seeing as how my opponent really likes the second pick Claret, I take out the Zerda and the Luna. Or even more better single target units on this map. This is Illustrial second best map, so add that in. Very good against all the flares over there anyways, like Claret. And then Ashran, very strong against single target attackers. So here, same bands, almost. This time they go for a Mystery Knight second pick. Claret so far haven't failed me yet, so we're just gonna keep on taking this Claret. So I think what can actually be better would be like the Sigma. If I just took out took the Sigma earlier, Sigma can potentially one-shot multiple units if I just attack and run back with move again. But I was, more confident in Claret's ability to just one-shot the Stell and then work from there. So here we get to see the Ashram here. Figure it would be pretty good against single targets. But here my opponent doesn't really have a dedicated healer other from Elit's random healing from attacking and Save Miracles of an Aura. On my side, I can use Ashram AoE, drop some good damage, or I can trade 1 for one of my opponent's units. Then here, if I really wanted to, I could have actually used the Simmons Sky Archers, but I thought I would just bring a Gospel for this Ashram. If I had the Simmons Sky Archers, I could have used a regroup on them. And then I have strength in here already anyways. So I had 2 attack buffs for this Ashram. Yeah, if I replay this match, I think I will take probably Strengthen with Regroup, Summon Sky Archers with Act again. That way I can use the Regroup on the Summon Sky Archers, Act again, and then pretty much double or even triple move. And use that momentum to crush the opponent. So since my opponent is player 1, and they have all the mobility here, it's really up to them to engage. Yeah, I was really fine with just sitting here. Now I get the breeds, and I have coverage on most of the map here. My opponent makes him really difficult to actually engage here. And I make the hasty move of just attacking to the Estelle again. Really, I didn't need to, because if I didn't attack with this Claret, it's very difficult for my opponent to actually engage, where Ashram is also threatening a lot of this area here. So for him to actually move in towards me, he'd have to possibly get out of guard range and into my Ashram's range. When he does that, Ashram just gets free kills that way. Then I can just use this Claret to pretty much zone out the opponent. Instead, take the hasty attack here. So losing or trading away this Claret means I have a lot less pressure. Now I only have Ashram, and Ashram have to do all the work of killing off every single one of these opponent units. So I can't just simply throw him into over here to get kills anymore. But since I didn't trigger Breeze this time, he can't really reach anyone here. Oh, my opponent's just running away. Here, I think I move too close here. I do get the Breeze, which is covering everyone here. But I'm also in range of my opponent. So every one of his units I'm in range of, they can move up and attack. So they open with this Dark Demise. At this moment I'm Gospeled on the Ashram, but the Dark Demise takes out the Gospel immunity. So I heal when I should have actually just ran this Ashram back. Because now I can't do anything about this sleep. When Ashram is sleeped, I have really no one else to attack them with. Just 2 healers and a tank. And the sleep also clocked. So here I'm also tracking all my opponent's AoE. Mystery Knight just used her AoE. Joshua doesn't have either of these up anymore. Used Phantom Raid earlier on this tile, and then again used the Dark Demise here now. So this Bozo, I think he does have both AoEs up at this point. Actually, Bozo should have everything up. But since he used all the AoEs here, this Bozo doesn't have AoE anymore, Mystery Knight doesn't have AoE anymore. Finally, I can use this Weiler's Receive without him actually dying. Though this Landius did get stunned. So Landius is not guarding anyone anymore. And Ashran takes a huge hit, almost dies to the fixed damage as well, from this Mystery Knight, and from the Broken Spear, she applies an undispellable stun, which is, extremely strong. At this point I thought I just lost the game. So last action is this Liana. Here, since Weiler does have his 3C up, I know none of these 2 units have any single or any AoE attacks anymore. I just apply the Gospel onto Ashram to prevent any more debuffs from applying to Ashram here. So delay goes for an attack, but Ashram here shakes it off. Landius Aura is sitting on the city walls. And Gargoyles, very tanky here. So much health. And stun on Landius drops off first, so Joshua pretty much almost kills himself attacking when he could have potentially killed off the Weiler earlier. So Bozo, another clock, AoEs. Thankfully, I healed up the Weiler up just enough from that last Liana action. Yeah, Weiler almost died. Got only just the passive heal from Liana here. And this Bozo, since it is a demon, dealt way less damage to the Weiler as well. So if this Bozo was Mage instead, then potentially the Weiler would have been dead. Now I can attack with Ashram. He doesn't care about debuffs anymore, have Weiler talent, go for the counter strike, get back the additional revive. Now nobody can actually kill this Ashram anymore. This D-Lit is a mage, and to melee attack into Ashram without getting herself killed. Bozo can be shrugged off with his Gospel. So all that turned, thankfully. Was at this moment where Bozo used his AoE early on this turn. If Bozo was one of the later units to move, if the Bozo didn't use the AoE here, then that would have sealed my Weiler talent. If I use Weiler 3C, and then Weiler dies to the AoE, this heal would be a lot less effective. So if Ashram took damage from like D-Lit or Joshua, then Ashram might have just died as a result of the reduced healing. Since he slept here, and there's no more other AoEs, this Weiler was able to get this off. Then again, with the tank disabled, he could have just killed that Weiler here. But I'm looking at this positioning. If he just attacked like Joshua into Weiler, that would have been good. Yeah, this is good as well. And then I move to Gospel. So at this point, I think Weiler can still be killed here. If either D-Lit or Joshua was able to slam into Weiler here. Probably not D-Lit, since Weiler's Forest Priest have a lot of health and very high magic defense. Joshua... If Joshua melee attacks this Weiler, it might be a kill. Yeah, but instead they tried to kill this Ashram, which really failed. And because my Landius woke up from the sleep, that attack killed him more than it did any damage to me. So that was his one misplay, which I think cost him the game. And after that, I have all the units remaining. Ashram can basically solo both of these, and match ends here. Yeah, just Ashram. Alright, that's the 256 match.